Joining me now, he will have no time in purgatory because he's such a great guy. Congressman, 3rd District, North Carolina, that's the shore, Walter Jones. Congressman, it's been so long. It's great to have you.
Well, John, thank you so much. And in your conversation about Roanoke, and I convert to Catholicism myself, couldn't get the word out this morning. But so I was glad to hear your homily. Thank you.
That is my homily. Good word, Congressman. That's my homily for the day, right? We all have a penance to pay. Mine is I got to go to Roanoke tomorrow. Now, Congressman, okay, so the president, in between getting the dandruff off of Macron and their love fest going on there, shaking hands and the French kissing, and Melania's hat, by the way, gorgeous hat, best hat ever, best white hat ever. She should wear that to the Kentucky Derby with a little mint julep, right? Would be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's May 5th, right? That's coming up. I'll be giving you my pick next week, by the way. Anyway, so one of the things that comes out of it is the president says, look, we want to get out of Syria. We really want to get out. I want to get out. But, we can't just leave it to Assad, and we can't give the Iranians a pathway to the Mediterranean. And what does this all mean?
Well, John, first of all, I want to thank General Mattis, who is the Secretary of Defense. It came out after we went into Syria recently that he felt that Congress should have a debate. And this has been my frustration, as you know, for many, many months, and quite frankly, years, that we, if the president feels that it's necessary to go in, I'm talking about with missiles, I'm not talking about with troops at this point, then he ought to still come to Congress. Nothing would be more important for the American people than to know that their Congress is meeting its constitutional responsibility of debating, going and attacking another country. I will ask you this. I'll never will forget one of my dearest friends, Randy Forbes, asked Secretary of Defense Gates after we went into Libya. He said to Secretary Gates in a full committee meeting of armed services, if the Libyans fired missiles into America, hit New York, would we say that's an act of war? And Gates is a very smart man. He paused for a second or two and never answered the question. So if we think that bad things are going on in another country, what gives us the authority, if they've done nothing against us, what gives us the authority to go in there and blow up the country? At some point in time, the president, in this case, Mr. Trump, I'll go back to Obama, who went into Libya, Congress must force the president to be an equal branch that follows the Constitution. Now, if they had attacked us without any justification and the president wanted to take immediate action, I would be in favor of that. But waiting 2 or 3 days, and I'm sorry about the situation there, I really am. But there is a protocol, and we do not follow the protocol. I'm going to tell you one other quick story. I brought this up in the Armed Services meeting last week. We had 2 men to testify from think tanks that analyzed the Department of Defense.
Right.
When I asked them this question, there's been an article in Stars and Stripes that we cannot find 95,000 vehicles in Afghanistan, which equals to $3.1 billion loss. I said, why don't we have somebody responsible to answer for that, like the Secretary of Defense, maybe a committee that advises the Secretary of Defense. And they said to me, I'm going to pull that statement this morning. They said to me, well, it just won't work. You in Congress have the authority. I said, sir, the authority here in Congress doesn't even do its job. We know we're wasting money in Afghanistan. We keep sending troops and money over there. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me that there's no way to deal with the problem of waste, fraud, and abuse. He said, well, I wouldn't say that. But that's what he said. So all in all, go back to your question, and I'll close. We need to force a president to come to Congress and the American people, heck with Congress, how about the American people? We just blow up things around the world, and then we wonder why we're hated.
We cannot continue to let this on, Congressman. This is a discussion you and I have been having now for, 3 years running.
At least.
I had Congressman Bobby Scott on the other day. He said that he talked to Nancy Pelosi. She was in favor of having a debate on a new AUMF authorization of military force. I talked to Congresswoman from New York, Carolyn Maloney, last night in person. We were talking about something else, the Gulf, and then I asked her about it, and she's like outraged by the whole thing. So it's like everybody that I talk to in Congress here is in favor of having the debate, yet it's your leadership, Paul Ryan, Kevin McCarthy, Scalise, it's your leadership, McMorris Rogers, or is it Rogers McMorris, Kathy Rogers, that will not let it get to the floor. I mean, you've even got the minority leader and Steny, her whip, saying, yes, this needs to be a debate in the well, and you've got a group of Republicans in leadership that refuse to let this get out of committee and go for debate. And you guys control the House. I don't get it. And yet everybody I talk to says they're in favor of it.
Well, John, I yesterday met with 4 people from POGO, which I've worked with before, about clearing the names of the 2 Marine pilots who were killed. We need to really find a law school and go to the federal court. Let me explain very briefly. I, along with the members from Virginia, we have a constitutional duty to debate war, because war means you send young Americans to die, and yet we don't debate. That's your point you just made. Okay, I think that there's got to be a legal effort to go to the courts. The court case would deal with what is the responsibility of a member of Congress who has been denied their ability to debate war. And we are denied. You mentioned names a while ago. We've written 15, 16 letters, bipartisan, to Paul Ryan asking for a debate on the floor. Not one time have we gotten an answer from him. Yes, you're right. It is a constitutional duty, and I'm going to ask the committees to mark up a new AUMF. I don't know. I told these people yesterday they're going to consider what I said to them. Even if we don't win in the courts, we need to make a statement, because Congresses of the future, when I'm not here, they must understand that no administration can ride over them when it comes to sending young men and women to die for this country.
Well, I mean, look, yes, and we've got, we've recruited so many people behind this, but we just can't get it done. And so it's getting very, very frustrating. But, you got to keep fighting it, and maybe we are getting closer, but somebody's got to take the lead on it. And until you can penetrate your own leadership, I don't see it happening, and I don't even know what they're afraid of. And then the other problem is, anybody that I talk to that talks to Ryan, he says he agrees with him, but then he doesn't do anything, right?
Well, if he agrees with him, he's the one person in the House that by picking up the phone and calling the chairman of a committee and say, I want an AUMF on the floor so the House can debate. That's all he's got to do. He doesn't have to do anything. Email him if he doesn't want to have the energy to pick up the phone. Just will not do it. It's all about money, John. You and I have talked about it. How about what Mulvaney said yesterday? Have you seen that?
No, what was that?
Front page. Go online. You can do it while we talk if you want to. He said to a group of bankers, you need to do more in giving money to members of Congress. He said about himself, when I was a congressman, I would not even meet with somebody that didn't contribute to my campaign. I'm going to pull it down and put it on my website and say to the people in my district, this is what's wrong with Congress. This is another reason why we're not debating a new AUMF. Look it up. It was in the New York Times, a statement he made to a group of bankers yesterday.
because of, and you're saying this goes back and ties into what we're talking about, because the money that's involved. By the way, we're with Republican Congressman from North Carolina's 3rd District. That's the shore area of North Carolina, all the way from Ocracoke, Outer Banks, up through Chesapeake to Chesapeake, Virginia, Walter Jones, 3rd District. So what you're saying is it's because the money that's flowing around based on all these wars that we're in that are not sanctioned, right?
Yeah, if you go on OpenSecrets.com or your listeners, and you can put my name in there, you can put any congressman's name, look and see where the money's coming from. Go into the chairman of the Armed Services Committee, who I like very much, Matt Thornberry. Look at the money he's getting as chairman versus 10 years ago when he wasn't chairman. See where it comes from.
All right, I'm seeing it here now. Mulvaney, this is unbelievable. April 24th, New York Times. Mick Mulvaney, the interim director of Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, told banking executives yesterday that they should press lawmakers hard to pursue their agenda, and revealed that as a congressman, he would meet only with lobbyists if they had contributed to his campaign. I mean, is that swamp monster or what?
Well, it's a big monster, John, and you've been a national advocate of trying to reduce the influence of money, and in a small way, I've been doing it. I've been trying, and there are a few other members of Congress in both parties, but not many, not many.
Here, let me just go on with this for our listeners. Now that you brought this up, and I'm so glad you did, Congressman, let me go on with this article in the New York Times from Mulvaney, former congressman, South Carolina, so that people can digest this. So he tells 1,300 gangster banksters in Wall Street, these are basically the people that bankrupted the country, put us in a recession, and then got bailed out and went on junkets, vacation, got golden parachutes after they fleeced us, made billions of dollars while they kicked you out of your house, okay? These are the same gangster banksters in Manhattan, Wall Street. He said, we had a hierarchy in my office in Congress. Mulvaney, he was a congressman from South Carolina, telling these 1,300 Wall Street bankers at the American Bankers Association, that's like the American Gangsters Association, if you're a lobbyist who never, get this, here's what he told them, and I quote, if you're a lobbyist who never gave us any money, I didn't talk to you. If you're a lobbyist who gave us money, I might talk to you. If you gave us a lot of money, I will definitely talk to you. I mean, this is the way it works now in Washington. I mean, this is Mick Mulvaney. This guy is pretty respected in the Consumer Protection Agency. He was working on the budget. Now he says, look, and then he goes on to say at the top of the hierarchy, he added, were his constituents. If you come back home and sat in my lobby, I talk to you without exception, regardless of the financial contributions, said Mulvaney, who received nearly $65,000 from payday lenders for his congressional campaigns. So basically then if somebody wants to talk to you about a bill and they didn't give you any money, then they don't get an audience. That's the swamp. That's what the whole thing is about.
John, you're right. And I think a few years ago, once you started having me on your show, I either sent you the book or asked you to get the author of Extortion, Peter Schweitzer, on your show. I think you did that.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
That's the way this place works. And you're not going to agree with what I'm going to say. But the only way to return this government to the people is a voluntary system of public financing. You cannot continue to let the special interests grow and control policy. Policy is controlled by money. That's exactly what Mulvaney is saying. That's what's wrong with this place, and it's both parties.
You know what? If you go down the same path, Congressman Jones, you end up in the same place. So, in the big picture, am I excited about public financing of campaigns with limits on them? No, but you got to do something. And,
absolutely.
Remember back when you had matching funds for your presidential campaign? And, I mean, if you hit a certain amount, you got matching funds, and that was like a big deal. I mean, that was huge, right? You got matching funds. It was big. Now,
it worked for a while.
Now all the presidential candidates reject the matching funds because there's a spending cap. And so Obama raised, remember when he raised $1 billion, he said, I'm not even participating in it. And then that was the end of that. Mulvaney's statement should be frightening to every American, especially going up to Wall Street and meeting with the American Gangsters Association. And that's basically what it is. I mean, these are the same bankers who bankrupted the country then got a bailout and made more millions on top of the millions they made to get you thrown out of your house. Unbelievable.
I know you got to go real quick. That's why I did not vote to bail them out. And I would tell you, if you look on that opensecrets.com, I think that's the name of it, look up members of Congress and see where the money comes from. It is absolutely eye-popping, really.
Thank you. I'm out of time. Congressman Walter Jones. Bye-bye. All right, man, hang in there. I'm glad you brought this to my attention. I'll be right back. Keep it right here.